I am your host, Jinx, and we are joined, as always, by the best and the brightest in the Pocket ecosystem. I'm going to start the call with our protocol update from Fred.
Struggling to find my mute button. On the protocol side, just a few quick things. Really focused in on improvements to the relay miner. It looks like in the recent release to help combat some of the things with session rollover, there are a little bit of issues with the proofs and claims submission. So a number of node runners have rolled back. We'll continue to troubleshoot this and iterate on that. In addition, we are heads down on the IBC integrations, as well as some adjustments to how the validator delegation and rewards work right now. To clarify, these do indeed work right now. They are not perfectly tuned, and some of the reward structure still needs to be iterated on. So I can confirm personally that we've looked at our own validator rewards and our delegator rewards, and they are receiving rewards. They're probably just not at the scale that most folks would expect. So that's it on the protocol. I'm jumping over to the portal and path. So first things first, we've been asked about the front end, the Pocket portal, or sorry, not the Pocket portal, the Grove portal being open sourced. We made a decision that this was so highly opinionated and so legacy that it wasn't worth maintaining open source due to the amount of maintenance and questions that it would require. So it will remain closed source, and we'll continue to make iterations. I'll run down the list of things that we're doing to improve Path, with one of the future options being releasing a front end to along with Path. So on everything that we're working through in Path, in a recent release to Path or a recent push, you'll see that we've added a opinionated database to Path. This is something that we're going to continue to iterate on, but it will become the foundation of Grove's business as well as any future Path users. You can't have a SaaS app that doesn't have a database. So this will be the foundation where you can manage all the business logic. From there, this will enable us to talk about adding a front end in the future. Additional things that we're working on at Grove, we're upgrading our infrastructure to make sure that it scales and is ready for Path and Shannon. We're still working off the legacy infrastructure from prior iterations, talking Moors and the previous portal with middleware. We have successfully added WebSockets to both the chain and to our service. So that has rolled out. WebSockets is currently live for XRPL EVM mainnet. We'll be rolling out to testnet and then some additional chains and filling out the remainder of the catalog for that. We're also working on launching all of the Cosmos chains that are coming in from Cleomedes. So we're really excited about that and expect some new services coming online in the next couple weeks here. That is it and everything I got from Grove's End.
Hell yeah. And it's we will have a press release coming out about that soon, but anyone who's paying attention, you will see some Cosmos services coming online in the protocol as we expand our footprint in the Cosmos ecosystem. So super excited about that. From a foundation side, we've had quite a bit going on, both in preparation for our event at KBW, Korea Blockchain Week, and also just in general with ecosystem support. We are working with Grove to help get some additional projects done by bringing in some additional engineering, especially around IBC, and also adding resources to help look at the session rollover error and some of the other bugs that are still outstanding as part of getting everything rolling. I do want to take a minute with Mehrdad and go through the governance pre-proposal that is in the forum, and hopefully folks have had a chance to take a look at it and chew on that a bit. But Mehrdad, take it away.
Thank you, James. So we've been working on the governance proposal for a while now. The new governance that we have put together has, so I'm just going to give everyone here a TLDR, and if there are any more questions, we can definitely take it to the forum. I'm available there to answer any questions. But the summary of what we've done and what we come up with is that we're going to have a delegated model voting process, which is a proven process in the Cosmos ecosystem. A lot of other ecosystems are also using this model. Anyone in the community can delegate their tokens to validators, and validators vote on their behalf. Although there is an extra touch that we had on it, and we don't count the amount of that was delegated or staked in validators, we actually count the square root of that. We put together this because we wanted to make this governance model anti-proxy and make sure that everyone has a say, not like everyone have to buy to have a say. Following that North Star, we are also planning to open up the foundation validators to community members through caucuses. Caucuses are groups that we put together, and anyone from the community can nominate themselves. And if they reach quorum through voting, they can they will have a voting power over that caucus. For example, if there are 5 people in a caucus, each will have an NFT, and each one has a say, and their general quorum or their general understanding of the matter will govern over that specific validator. That is basically the digest of how the system works. We also put together a simulator that you can play around with to see how this model works, where are the areas that we might get attacked, and how we can defend this. And I also went in depth through it in the pre-proposal and also the connected links. So I urge everyone to like look through it, give us some feedback, and help us. If you see any vectors of attack that we have missed, we definitely would love to know about them. If you have any thoughts around improving this or any concerns, we definitely love to hear them in the forum.
And please definitely this has been something that has been talked about quite a bit. I am uh, it's very important to me that we have working governance and that the DAO is properly administering the things that the DAO should be in control over. So we want to make sure that we have a system that does a number of things. I mean, one is fair and representative to all of the various ecosystem types without presenting so much of an obstacle that people simply opt out of governance entirely. And we've seen a ton of that over the past 4 years. And also something that encourages greater participation while still preserving some of the same things that we have today. I think the caucus system is a really good compromise in helping to preserve the one person, one vote, and also using the validator-based delegation system to allow for specific caucuses around various entity types. If you want to be associated with a builder caucus or a node runner caucus or whatever the case may be. And the foundation itself running a number of these validators allows for community members and DAO members to control the vote of those validators as it goes forward by negotiating amongst themselves and voting on a specific outcome for that validator to participate in. So I think we really have married up the best of both worlds with preserving some of the things that are important in our old model of DAO governance while also modernizing the entire system and making it easy to participate. Cosmos Hub is obviously a very solid, very well-developed forum and discussion system. And the fact that we can have proposals on chain and pushed forward is, I think, way better than some of the previous implementation models that we've had. And speaking of which, my nomination for directorship for the foundation is up in the forum and on Snapshot now. Voting is open. So if you have not gone in there and you are currently one of the limited number of DAO voters who are able to participate in that system, please make sure that you do get your vote in. One of the things that we talked about in the past was how with the old DAO governance system, actually carrying any proposal through gets harder and harder over time because of the fact that Quorum itself is a percentage function of the total votes that are in the system, and many of those voters are simply gone. So they have a voting token, then that voting token is counted in the total number where percentages are calculated to achieve quorum and things, all of the similar calculations, but they are not ever going to participate in the system again because they're completely checked out of it and separated from it. So these are the kinds of things that we're trying to address and moving forward, and clearing out necro votes is definitely one of those things. That was a whole lot to go through in a short amount of time, so I would like to stop there and see if anybody has any questions. You are welcome to either come off mute and ask out loud, or to type in chat and I'll read it out.
Hey, I have a thing that I've been keeping quiet for the most part because I didn't know if it was going to happen until like an hour ago.
Cool.
So yeah, okay. So for those who don't know, I live in the state of Maryland in the U.S. and I'm part of the D.C. For those of you who don't know, the region Washington D.C. is close to multiple states, and there's a kind of a whole community here for crypto. It's a little more policy focused just because of where we are in the U.S. Uh, However, because of that, Stand with Crypto, that big org that pushes through as much political action as possible without actually, I think, being a political action committee themselves, is very close here. And they are sponsoring an event right in my hometown on Saturday called Unlock the Block that has over 1,000 people coming. Because I am here and because Pocket is a well-established project, we have a free booth and table and swag and other stuff that will be available. I will be at this event. I will share a tweet out in a little bit. So yeah, it'll be free promotion from us. I took a look at some of the other attendees. There's a couple potential customers I've been chasing that will be there, so I will be chasing them down in person now that I know who's attending and who's hosting. If any of you are in or in the vicinity of the Baltimore, DC area, feel free to pop by.
Beautiful. And I don't see any other questions about the governance things, so I'm going to hand the mic over to Tracy now for operations updates.
Hey everyone. Okay, I have a couple updates. The first one is I know Fred had talked about the validation delegation. I did speak with Daniel yesterday or the day before, and we do have a hard date on that. So we can expect the validation delegation to be mainnet ready to go on September 16th. So for all the node runners, I will be contacting you to set up time after that to get all of the foundation's validators up and staked. Also, speaking of validators, F-Chain's situation, we have gotten the first user of Igniter using, getting their F-Chain set up on using Igniter. It went really, really smoothly. It's a great product. I'm working with QSpider this week to get his swapped over to Igniter. And then I will be reaching out to everyone late this week, early next week to see if you guys can swap it over to Igniter. Again, it just gives us a lot of more insight into the performance of the nodes and stuff. Mirdad already talked about governance, and I want to encourage everyone to write anything that they feel about the governance under that forum. It would be really nice to see a lot of activity, and we want to make sure that we're doing what the community is looking for. So please feel free to read and provide feedback. The Pocket Docs, we just had, I reviewed the first set. Everything looks really good. It's good tone and whatnot. We should have the initial docs up soon. I would say within the next week from now. Some of the pages might be blank, but you'll be able to see where all of the docs, the direction that it's going in and whatnot. But we'll have all the main ones up soon. And I I think that's it from me.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to having the docs project done. We have had those old, broken, mixed up, broken linked, confusing, conflicting docs at docs.pocket.network for a long time. Looking forward to having the new set that actually reflects where we are now and what things work now and all the rest of that. John asked, any update on the session rollover issue? I will put that over to Grove.
Yeah, I mean, the last several iterations on the Relay Miner client have shown drastic improvements. We're not nearly seeing as much latency spiking. So yeah, I mean, we've made good progress. However, the latest release, like I mentioned earlier, did have some negative effects to some of the rewards that node runners were able to claim and prove on chain. So we continue to make iterations there. But from a user experience, it is drastically improved. I'd say 90% plus. And we continue to make this a priority because latency, obviously, for end users is a KPI.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. I thought I saw an ASCII start typing.
Hey, I have a quick question about the docs, because I don't think we've actually even talked about it privately. How does this work with dev.poctroll.com? Are you guys just going to lift and shift all the content in there?
Yep.
Because, okay. And have you guys been talking to Olshansky about that? Because he proactively updates that like multiple times a week about
Yeah,
what
I
this
mean,
new process will.
Yeah, Tracy could speak to that if you'd like. But yes, that's the goal, is to have dev.pocketroll.com incorporated into the core Pocket Docs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say we're not planning on adjusting anything with the Pocket Roll docs. We're literally just gonna lift and shift as Jing said.
Okay. Cool.
I'll reach out
Sounds
to I'll reach out to Daniel, let him know that that's on my plate, and if whatever he needs from me to make sure he still has access and whatnot to update, then I'll make sure it's done.
sure. I think if the goal, I'm just calling this out now. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more tactical things, but this is the only one that really like screams alarm bells in my head. Um, if the goal eventually, and I think this is an appropriate goal, is to move away from the pocket roll domain, we have a bunch of RPC endpoints that are publicly exposed and built into the clients, like the Pocket D client that are hard coded. All of that needs to change as well at some point. Does not have to be at the same time, but the docs will be referencing Pocket Roll until that is addressed. So that's like one of the super tactical things that needs to handle, but it affects all builders and node runners equally.
Okay, I'll make
Yeah,
a note
so
of
you're
that.
talking about pocketroll.com domain being referenced in the content of the docs itself, right?
And in the like, so there's a free, well, there's a foundation sponsored public RPC built into Pocket D. So whenever you do like Pocket query something on mainnet or any of the test nets, it will query something like shannon.rpc.poctroll.com. So all of that will need to change at some point if the goal eventually is not just to move away from docs for Pocket Roll, but move everything back onto the Pocket.network brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so when those URLs are updated in production, we would just expect them to be updated within the docs at the same time. And like Tracy said, we want to make sure that Olshansky has the same level of, admin interaction, publishing capability, whatever, to, freely continue making updates as he has. So
Cool.
that should just be a content update. So whenever you guys update those endpoints, you can just go in there and publish the new locations. And if you need any support from the foundation, of course, on hosting endpoints through the Pocket Network domain or whatever, then just let us know.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. I'm just calling it out because I don't want this to just live in my head.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
doubt. Anoski asks, when we'll be back to 300 million relays? Do we still retain old clients? That's obviously a big question that's been going around the node runner ecosystem.
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. We lost some clients. We also had a couple large clients that collectively did 100 million requests a day just die, just companies that just died. We had one smaller client who moved off when the price well, we had multiple clients moved off, but like, so I'll say that On Finality, GetBlock, and a few others moved off a chunk of their traffic when we had to lift our prices. So we are working on getting them back with WebSockets, because that's something that they still want to use us for, because I think the pricing on that is fine. Um, the the thing that I have been having the team focus on is getting to a place where I feel comfortable selling. I think I've said that week after week. So that included the session rollover issue. So we have a mitigation at the gateway level, while the mitigation at the protocol level is being addressed, which I think a version should be released in 1.29. We are right now, you'll see on one or two chains, we are doing load tests where we are testing to see how we can scale um, on the new version of Path on top of Shannon, because we've changed the entire stack. How much we can pummel one chain or multiple chains across multiple regions or one region, to see if we are able to go to a lot of large volume customers and say, hey, go ahead and like try to break us. So those are ongoing tests right now. I mean, like literally today and yesterday we were doing them, and we will continue doing them. So they will come back, but this is a finicky business. Like I've said it and I'll say it again. A lot of Web3, like we have under the hood, so you're aware, we have over, I mean, close to 50,000 registered users on Grove's portal. A lot of those users are dead, like a lot. We're talking about some, there's a small portion of them that were fake, fake throwaway emails, but a lot of those like real domain names, those companies have just died over the years because of the, what kind of business this is. So the idea is to capture more newer types of products, or also going and partnering with ecosystems like we are with Ripple and Kaya and others. And that's why you see Kaya having a high output on our ecosystem. That's why you see Ripple growing slowly. Um, so that's the plan. The plan is to still go out and try to get everyone possible, but the better rate of return right now is most likely going to be going through ecosystems. I will let you know that with Ripple proper, they've already sent us 4 customers. 2 have already signed up with us. A third one is starting to test us. Keep in mind the EVM is a new thing, so I don't know what to expect there on the rate of volume, but we are going to do our very best to get those requests back. As for the 300 million number amount, before we launch Shannon, I would say somewhere in the first half of the year, but before launch, if you take away artificial relays, and you take away load testing of stuff that we're doing on Shannon, or things where we were duplicating relays, it was more like 150 to 180 was real. So that is where we were at. But then when we changed prices, and then when we had the kind of migration over the month of June, those numbers have changed. What we're seeing internally, depending on the day, is between 50 and 80, where I think last week and the week before we were seeing a lot of stuff between 70 and 80 million requests per day. So that number has been growing since June. I am actively talking to customers, but I don't feel comfortable right this moment to try to get back all of the really large volume whales, just because we're still as we try to break our path, we're breaking it in some places, and the team is fixing it. So it will come. It's just taking the time, and it's not like we're sitting idly by. We're actually proactively doing it as best as we can. And again, this is one of the reasons that Jinx is going to Korea and trying to engage a whole different part of the world. That's a little harder for me to engage from where I am right now. I'll stop there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add on to that and just say that, a significant amount of traffic, the vast majority, has been constantly relied upon with Grove. And that's been great to some degree. But at the end of the day, it's like this should not be a single gateway ecosystem. Our focus needs to be on expanding usage horizontally. It needs to be on adding new gateways, adding new dApps, all of the rest of those things, and specifically adding the new use cases. We have more than just RPC out there. We need to get more of those customers that are using Pocket Network for, decentralized AI and all of the other types of open distributed data use cases. So this is a place where it's very much part of the ecosystem, or it's very much on the ecosystem as a whole to be contributing towards helping to build the usage of the protocol. If you know a project that is working with decentralized data in whatever format, send them our way. There are lots and lots of opportunities for much smaller people to join the network and be part of a consistent open usage. If we get 100 entities that are each serving, 10 million relays a day, which is a fairly small amount compared to some of these bigger folks who are, coalescing through Grove, that's a billion relays a day. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking at. We would like to get the network as quickly as possible up to 2 billion, 3 billion relays a day. But that means we've got to be out there absolutely spreading the message and looking at people who are building new things now and working on getting them to build on Pocket from the ground up. Gateways are always going to be the best possible use cases for large enterprise clients. They have SLA, they have the ability to support those enterprise clients through their needs. And that means also that gateways are likely always going to be the biggest volume users, or we call them demand aggregators. But we don't need to just be looking at gateways adding 100 million, relay a day clients. We need to have lots and lots of individual projects, even small ones. So all of us, if you're out there, if you see the opportunity, let's get the conversation going and send them our way. We can help figure out how to get them set up and integrated.
If I may, being the data fanatic that I am, examining the historical data over the last several months at the exact moment that the on-chain fees were instated and Grove was forced to raise its prices, correlates directly with the departure of all non-Grove gateways, as well as the sharp decrease in the number of relays on the network. So I would implore the DAO governance foundation to explore all possible levers to increase the attractiveness and decrease the cost of operating on Pocket Network, as I believe that this will enable more gateways to come on. And I would also note that this loss of relays and loss of gateways predates the Shannon release, so by 2.5 months. So it does correlate directly with the on-chain burn. And I would also implore the community to reconsider their stance on the I word, inflation. I think that it is worth exploring in more depth.
Well, it's certainly a position to take to ask the node runners to accept even less. That's certainly something you're welcome to champion for, but I don't personally expect that you're going to get a lot of traction there. I guess we'll see how that goes. Any other questions or thoughts?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, the CUTTM has nothing to do with the price of anything. The CUTTM just keeps the price of a single compute units to 1 to the times 10 to the minus 9 USD. That's all that it does. The services have their own compute units per relay, and that's controlled by the ones that control the services. And that's the market. The DAO has no say in how much you will charge for a relay in your service. So it's an open market and you can change the prices. The problem is, how do you expect the rest of the network to survive with the prices if you set them down? But well, that's the market. So don't put this in the DAO. The DAO just set the initial prices, but you are free to change them if you want.
I don't want to dive too deep into this here, but we all know that there is a relationship between the rate of emission and the price set on the individual services. The rate of emission is the floor, essentially, that like all things are built off of.
You don't change the value of a coin to make a service cheaper. You change the value of the service in the denominated coin. You can look the way that you want, but the CUTTM is not responsible for the prices because when you try to change the price of the ETH relay, you will end up changing the price of every other relay that maybe has nothing to do with your business, because maybe there are services in the future that has nothing to do with group. And by changing the CUTTM, you will be changing the prices for other business in the Pocket network. So that's not the lever that you need to put.
Okay. Other thoughts, other topics? Awesome. Well, thank you once again, everybody, for attending our weekly ecosystem calls, and we will see you again next week, same time, same channel.